Prayer ain't just some words you whisper when life gets tough. Prayer is powerful. It's direct communication with the one who created it all. And if you don't trust in your prayers, then you might as well be talking to the wall. See, I ain't standing up here today because I got it all figured out. I'm standing here because I learned, sometimes the hard way, that prayer works. And not just when things are good. Prayer works when you're flat broke, when you lost your job, when folks done turn their back on you, when you ain't got nothing but tears in your eyes and faith in your heart. Man, faith in your heart. But here's the kicker. You gotta trust it. You can't be out here praying for a better life. And then the moment you don't see results in 24 hours, you throw your hands up like God's Amazon Prime or something. That's not how faith works. Faith is like planting a seed. When you pray, you're planting that seed in the soil of your life. Now, you don't plant a seed today and eat fruit tomorrow. You gotta water it. You gotta protect it. And you gotta be patient. God may not come when you want him, but he always on time. Let me break it down. I done prayed in a car I was living in. I prayed when my phone was off and the lights didn't work. I prayed when I was broke and broken. And every single time, eventually, God showed up. Sometimes not with what I wanted, but always with what I needed. So when you pray, believe that it's heard, believe that it's working, even when it don't look like it. Because let me tell you something. Your current situation is not your final destination. God's still reading your story. You just got to trust him enough to keep talking to him. And keep moving. That dream, that breakthrough, that healing, that peace you're looking for. It's coming, but only if you trust your prayers and keep doing the work. Don't let anybody talk you out of your faith. Don't let your circumstances make you forget how far you've already come. And don't stop praying just because you ain't got the answer yet. Sometimes the delay is the development. So keep your head up, keep your heart open, keep your faith strong. And trust in your prayers. They work. God got you. Prayer isn't just something we do when life gets rough. It's not a last resort. It's not some emotional venting session or a desperate cry into the void. Prayer is power, pure power. It's the most direct line of communication you have to something bigger than you. To God, to the Creator, to the one who sees what's coming before you even take the next step. And if you really knew what prayer could do, if you truly understood the power in your own voice when it's filled with faith, you'd never treat it lightly again. Too many people pray like they're not sure it'll work. They send up words without believing in the impact. That's like turning on a faucet and not expecting water to come out. When you pray, you are stepping into a divine conversation, a supernatural transaction. You're placing your trust not in what's visible, but in what's possible. And that's a whole different level of living. See, I've been in places where prayer was all I had. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the connections. I didn't even have the answers. But I had prayer, and I trusted in it. I didn't always get a solution overnight. Most times I didn't. But you know what I did get? Strength to keep going. Peace in the middle of the storm. Direction when I was lost. And eventually I got the breakthrough I was praying for. Just not always how I expected. Prayer is not a magic trick. It's not a vending machine. You don't pray today and expect your reward to drop by tomorrow afternoon. That's not faith. That's entitlement. Faith says, I believe it's done, even when I don't see it yet. Prayer says, I trust that God heard me, and he's moving behind the scenes, even when it feels silent. Now, don't get it twisted. You can't just pray and then sit back like life owes you something. You've got to work too. You've got to move your feet in the direction of your prayers. If you're praying for a job, apply. If you're praying for peace, start letting go of chaos. If you're praying for love, be the kind of person who can receive it. But while you're doing all that, keep praying. Keep speaking life into your future. Keep declaring things that haven't even happened yet. Because when your words match your faith, things start to shift. And here's the real truth. People might laugh at you for praying. They might say it's pointless, that you're wasting time, that you should be realistic. But let me ask you, how far has being realistic gotten most people? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is close your eyes, speak from your heart, and believe like your life depends on it. Because in many cases it does. I've been broke. I've been lost. I've been tired. And prayer lifted me out every single time. It didn't always change my circumstances right away, but it changed me. And once you change on the inside, the outside starts catching up. So don't play with it. Don't treat prayer like a backup plan. Use it like the weapon it is. Talk to God like He's real, because He is. And trust in those prayers you're praying. They're doing more than you know. You can't just pray and sit still, expecting everything you ask for to fall into your lap. That's not how this works. Prayer is powerful, yes, but prayer without action, that's like planting a seed and never watering it, never giving it sunlight, never checking on it. You can have all the faith in the world, but if you're not moving your feet while you're talking to God, you're just hoping. And hope without hustle? That's empty. When you pray for something, you've got to prepare for it. That's part of showing you believe it's coming. If you're praying for a job, you better be polishing your resume, looking at openings, showing up early, dressing like the opportunity is already yours. You don't pray for rain and then leave your umbrella at home. That's not faith. That's fantasy. God is not in the business of blessing people who sit still and wait for life to happen to them. He blesses movement. He blesses preparation. He blesses the ones who trust Him enough to take steps, even when they don't see the full path. That's what faith really is. It's not just words in a quiet room. It's boldness in action. It's saying, God, I trust you, and then acting like you mean it. Sometimes people think waiting on God means doing nothing. No. Waiting doesn't mean you're idle. It means you're active and patient. You're doing what you can with what you have while trusting God to do what only He can. That's the balance. You do your part, and God handles the rest. But if you're not doing your part, don't expect Him to just drop the miracle in your lap. You got to show you're ready for it. Think about it like this. If you're praying for a new house, are you learning how to manage money? Are you working on your credit? Are you preparing yourself to be a responsible homeowner? If you're praying for a relationship, are you becoming the kind of person that person would want to be with? Are you healing from your past? Are you learning how to love, how to forgive, how to communicate? You don't get the blessing first and then prepare later. You prepare first while you're still waiting, while you're still unsure, and then the blessing meets you in motion. It's not about earning God's favor. You can't earn grace, but faith has evidence. Real faith shows up in how you live. If you believe a door is going to open, start walking toward it. If you believe your season is changing, start acting like it already has. Speak like it. Think like it. Plan like it. That's how you show God you're serious. There's this myth that people of faith are passive. That's false. Strongest faith moves. The strongest faith doesn't wait to feel confident. It takes steps even when the knees are shaking. When you work while you wait, you're telling God, I'm ready when you are. You're saying, I trust you enough to move without knowing how it's all going to play out. So don't just sit there. Pray, yes, but then go, move, prepare, show up, do the work. And as you move forward, things start to shift, doors open, people show up, opportunities align. Because faith in motion attracts miracles. You do the walking, God will do the opening. But He can't move something that's standing still. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to. Just because your prayer hasn't been answered in the way or time frame you expected doesn't mean God didn't hear you. Delay is not denial. That's one of the hardest truths to accept. But once you get it, it changes how you walk through life. It gives you patience. It gives you peace. And most of all, it gives you power. See, we live in a world that wants everything fast. Fast food, fast success, fast relationships, fast money. And so when we pray, we bring that same now or never attitude to God, expecting Him to move on our schedule. But God doesn't operate on your timeline. He operates on His timing, and His timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. There's a reason for the wait, always. Sometimes the delay is protecting you. Sometimes it's preparing you. Sometimes it's shaping your character, stretching your faith, or teaching you how to stand strong when life doesn't give you what you want. And if you rush that process, if you push for something you're not ready for, then you can end up with a blessing that becomes a burden. Timing matters. Let's say you're praying for a new opportunity, a better job, a bigger platform, or some kind of breakthrough. That's great. That's great. But God's looking at the full picture. He's asking, can you handle the pressure that comes with that promotion? Can you carry the responsibility that comes with the blessing? Can you still keep your integrity when things get bigger, harder, faster? That waiting period isn't wasted time. It's development time. It's like being in the gym. You don't get stronger without resistance. You don't build endurance without effort. The delay is building something in you. Maybe discipline, maybe humility, maybe patience, so that when the door finally opens, you can walk through it with the strength and wisdom to stay there. We often think silence means nothing is happening, but in reality, some of God's greatest work happens in the quiet, behind the scenes. In moments where you feel forgotten, overlooked, or pushed aside. But let me tell you something, you are not forgotten. God's not ignoring you. He's lining things up. He's moving pieces you don't even know exist. And while it might feel like you're standing still, He's preparing something bigger than what you even prayed for. Think about all the times you wanted something to happen, and it did, only to realize later, I thank God it didn't go the way I planned. That relationship you thought was the one, that job you were desperate for, that door that closed in your face. Sometimes rejection is just redirection. And sometimes the delay is the very thing that saved you. But in the moment, it hurts. It's confusing. It feels like you're doing everything right. Praying, believing, showing up, and still nothing's shifting. That's when faith gets real. That's when you find out what you really believe. Because anybody can trust God when life is going their way. But when you're waiting and waiting and waiting some more, and still keep believing, that's next level faith. And that's the kind of faith that moves heaven. So if you're in a season of waiting, don't lose heart. Don't give up just because it hasn't happened yet. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep doing your part, because the delay is not the end. It's just a pause. And when God finally says, now, everything you went through will make sense, you'll see that the wait wasn't punishment. It was preparation. And the blessing that comes after that kind of wait, it hits different. It lasts. It elevates you. And most importantly, it changes you. There's power in the words you speak, especially when you're going through something. Life has a way of trying to silence your faith when you're struggling. When you're tired, broke, hurting, or confused, the first thing that gets attacked is your mindset, your belief that things can still get better. That's why in those moments, it's so important to speak life over your situation, even if you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. When you open your mouth and speak faith, not fear, not doubt, not negativity, you're doing something spiritual. You're reminding your situation that it doesn't define you. You're reminding your soul that the story isn't over. The words you speak during your struggle are like seeds. They may not grow overnight, but they shape your future. They start shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's possible. You can't always control what's happening around you, but you can control what comes out of your mouth. And that's where real power is. Speak hope, speak healing, speak favor. Speak favor. Fun description. Speak breakthrough. Don't wait until everything is perfect to start talking like a winner. Talk like that now, when everything looks dark, when your bank account is low, when the report was bad, when the door was closed. That's when it matters most. Because what you say in the storm determines how you come out of it. Some people live in constant struggle not because they're cursed, but because they speak like they are. They talk down on themselves, down on their dreams, down on their future. They rehearse the pain more than the promise. And the more you speak negativity, the more you start to believe it. Your words frame your reality. That's why, even in your lowest moments, you've got to train yourself to speak life. Say things like, this isn't the end for me. I don't know how, but I'm coming out of this. Something better is ahead. I'm not what I'm going through. That kind of talk rewires your mindset. It opens you up to possibility. It allows you to see light in the middle of darkness. It doesn't mean you're in denial. Speaking life doesn't mean you ignore the problem. It means you don't let the problem silence your hope. You still face reality, but you don't speak defeat into it. You declare something greater, even when you don't have all the details. Think about it. When you're driving through a storm, you don't stop in the middle of it. You keep moving until you come out on the other side. That's how life works too. But if you stop in the middle and sit in your pain, it starts to consume you. The key is to keep moving and keep talking like you're already on the other side. Words are spiritual. They create, they direct, they either push you forward or keep you stuck. So ask yourself, what are you saying about your life right now? Are you speaking like you still believe something good can happen? Or have you let your pain become your language? You might be in the middle of the storm, but your words can still carry light. They can still carry faith. Don't let the enemy use your voice against you. Use it to fight back. Use it to remind yourself who you are and what you believe. Because one thing's for sure, the storm won't last forever. But your words, They can carry you until the clouds break. So speak life, speak victory, speak faith, even when everything around you tries to shut it down. That's how you rise, not just by what you pray, but by what you say. Faith means trusting what you cannot see. It means standing firm when nothing around you makes sense, when everything in your life seems like it's falling apart, and you still believe that something greater is working behind the scenes. That kind of trust isn't easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. But it's also one of the most powerful. When you pray for something, it's a job, healing, peace, a relationship, or just clarity. You expect something to happen, and deep down, you want it fast. That's human nature. We live in a world where everything is instant. You order food and track it. You send a message and expect a reply in seconds. So it's easy to bring that same mindset into your faith. You pray today and want an answer tomorrow. And when it doesn't show up right away, doubt creeps in. But listen, just because you don't see it yet doesn't mean it's not working. Some of the biggest blessings, the most important transformations, the most life-altering answers, they take time. And if you're not careful, you'll give up 5 minutes before your miracle. That's what trusting in what you can't see is all about. It's about hanging on even when there's no visible proof. It's about waking up every morning and saying, I don't see it yet, but I still believe. See, when you plant a seed in the ground, nothing happens right away. You don't walk out the next day and see a tree, but under that soil, something is happening. Roots are growing. Foundations are forming. The process is underway even if the surface hasn't changed. That's how your prayers work. You plant them in faith. You water them with hope. You protect them with belief. And you wait, not passively, but patiently and with expectation. The delay isn't the denial. The silence isn't the absence. It's just the in-between. And how you handle that in-between season says a lot about the strength of your faith. Anybody can believe when things are good. Anybody can trust when the money's flowing, the bills are paid, the health report is clean, and the phone's ringing with opportunities. But the real test is when all that's gone, and you still believe something good is coming. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. That's the kind of faith that gets rewarded. Because here's what I know. God don't ignore faith like that. You may not get what you prayed for exactly how you imagined it, but He always delivers what you need. Sometimes He gives you more than you asked. Sometimes He protects you from something you didn't even know to avoid. But it always works out. Always. Always. The hardest part is trusting when you're tired. When you've prayed the same prayer over and over again and feel like nothing's changing. But you've got to keep going, because you never know how close you are. You never know if the next moment, the next phone call, the next opportunity is the one that changes everything. So don't let your eyes fool you. Don't let your circumstances speak louder than your faith. What you see is temporary. What you believe is eternal. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep trusting. Keep showing up like the answer is already on its way. Because it is. You just can't see it yet. If you look back over your life, you'll see proof that you've been carried through storms you thought would break you. You survived situations that seemed impossible. You made it through nights when sleep wouldn't come and worry stacked up like mountains. That wasn't luck. That was an answered prayer. That was faith working behind the scenes when you couldn't see it. And that history, that track record you have with God is powerful. It's a foundation you can stand on when things get tough again. Too many people forget their own stories. They forget how far they've come. They only focus on what's wrong right now, the problems, the setbacks, the challenges. But when you forget the victories, the moments when you thought you wouldn't make it and then did, you lose confidence in what prayer can do. Now you start doubting the power that's already shown up in your life. Remember those times when things looked dark and you prayed anyway? When you felt alone but lifted your hands, when the odds were against you, but somehow you made it through? Those moments aren't accidents. They're evidence. They're signs that prayer is real, that God is real, and that He's still working, even when you don't see it. Your past victories are a blueprint for your future breakthroughs. If God did it before, He can do it again. The same power that pulled you out of that tough spot is the same power that's going to bring you through whatever you're facing now. You don't have to start over. You just have to keep trusting what's already been proven. This is why it's so important to reflect on your journey. Take time to remember those times when your prayers were answered, big or small. Maybe it was a financial miracle, a healing, a restored relationship, or even just peace in a chaotic time. Whatever it was, those moments build your faith muscle. They remind you that your prayers are never wasted. Faith isn't blind, it's built on evidence. It's not just a leap in the dark, it's stepping forward with the proof God has already given you. And that proof is your life, your survival, your testimony. So when doubt creeps in, when fear wants to take hold, remember your track record. Remember the storms you've already weathered. Remember the prayers you whispered when no one else was listening and the answers that came, sometimes in unexpected ways. Your faith is not just hope, it's history. It's the collection of moments where God showed up for you. And that history is your strength. It's your shield against discouragement. It's your reminder that you are never alone, never forgotten, and never beyond help. That's why trusting your prayers matters. Because prayer isn't just about asking. It's about believing. It's about knowing that what you've experienced before is a sign of what's to come. Your prayers have power because they connect you to a God who never quits on his promises. So keep praying, keep believing, keep trusting, because your past proves it. Your prayers work, and the best is yet to come.